What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. It's been a while since I've done one of these pro secrets videos, so I wanted to talk about something this week. And I actually had a different topic in mind, and I was talking about it with somebody the other day, and I forget what it was. And so I'm going to talk about this instead, because this is what I am thinking about right now. Theme is a very important part of your storytelling. And you always hear about this in like high school classes when you're talking about English, literature, or college classes when you're talking about these things. They always talk about theme and motif and all these breakdowns of different words that seem like gobbledygook. And a lot of the times it is. A lot of times authors don't even know what theme they're, quote, putting in there or even consider or think about it. And that's okay. It tends to work out sometimes. Other times you definitely do want to consciously put a theme into something. It depends on what you want to say with your storytelling and with your work. I often find out what my theme of my book is after the first draft, believe it or not. I tend to work character first, and so I have characters who are very detailed and thought out, and I have backgrounds for them and sort of reactions of them, the way that they act and things like that. And I let the characters kind of then dictate my storyline. I then write it out, and after the first draft I realize, oh, I've got a theme of this or that, so I'm going to go back in my next draft and sort of amplify those with just a couple lines here and there. That's all you need to do, because you don't want to override your story. You don't want to slow down your story. You don't want to bog it down with anything like that. I had a reviewer earlier today mention about one of my stories, about how it didn't go into the technical workings of the airship and all that, and it could have bogged it down. And that always bothered me about Robert Heinlein's books, is like he would have his stories, the early books, I don't know, the later ones are a different ballgame, which we can talk about later. But the early ones, he would have his story going along and going along and going along, and then he'd get excited about this like science fiction, science concept idea, and he would just like devote pages to it and stop the story. And you don't want to do that with theme as much as you don't want to do that with different setting items either. It just slows things down. So it's a very careful and slow thing. So when you think about theme, just think about what's happening in your story, especially after your first draft. So you've got your characters. Let's talk about, let's talk about my book, Sanctified, because I've got it right here, and that makes it easy. The title makes it the theme very easy in this one, which is sanctification, which is sort of the purifying of one's soul after they've already made a commitment towards the path of righteousness. And that's exactly what goes on in this book. The characters have established that they are going to be on this path of righteousness. They have committed towards it, and they have to kind of figure out their way on their walk towards their journey towards the end game and the goal of total glorification. Hence why the third book is then called Glorified. And this theme I developed right away, because I knew that I was going to have a trilogy of books, and it came across a little bit differently, and I knew I was going to have Justified, Sanctified, Glorified as titles even when I was in the first book. And so it was very easy to layer this theme in. But I mentioned that after the first draft is often when I find my theme. For my newest book, Colony Launch, for example, I just had characters doing their thing, and I had a whole background. I knew I wanted to kind of make a piece that was anti-war, and I did that, and that is part of the theme in there. But the theme that developed over the various drafts of that book, and I actually did a few drafts of that book, because it was a very complicated book and took some time to write, is actually the theme of the fact that people lose themselves quite often, and people lose hope, they lose something in their life, and they don't feel like they have purpose. And the theme of Colony Launch ends up being finding your purpose. And all four characters in the book at some point lose their purpose in one way or another, or don't have their purpose and don't know what direction they're going. And I won't spoil it for you beyond that, but they find their purpose over the course of the book, and that is one of the big thematic elements of the book. I didn't realize that going in, because I was, again, just trying to write an anti-war story, and I gave myself a writer's challenge at the beginning. I want to do 4 different perspectives, because that's quite a bit of perspectives to pack into a book. And I came up with it once I read through after my first draft. I kind of just thought about, well, what is going on here with the characters? What themes are kind of blossoming and developing out of this? And once I saw what that theme was of personal change, personal development, finding your purpose, as I said, I went back and I made sure to make sure that layers in all the way through. And that's a great way to do it. I really think that, there's two different ways to really write, and one is to have the theme from the get-go, like I did from these books, and then the other one is to you just have your characters and you let them escalate through the story, and you go back after your first draft and figure out what that theme is, and then go back and help foreshadow some of that stuff with just a few lines here and there. Just sprinkling that little stuff in adds to the book's dimensions. It adds to the whole experience for the reader. It adds to the immersion, and when that theme is tight and it's all the way across things, it just feels really good to read. So definitely something you should do in your writing, and I hope this was helpful for you today. If it was, definitely go hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below about your writing and what your themes are and what you're trying to do with this. And we will be back soon with another Novel Writers Pro Secrets. See you.